This is Excel 2016, Module 6, Part 8. We are looking at creating a custom template. So in this example, or this segment, we are going to be working with creating a template from the Michigan workbook that we originally started working with. There are a couple of changes that I'm going to make. We're going to get rid of the word totals on here so that it just says Jackson on our summary workbook. What I want is quarter 1, 2, 3, 4, and summary all to say Jackson in that first or second row. So what we're going to do is we are going to make these changes to a template. We'll go ahead and save that. Turn this into a template so that each time we start either a new location or a new year, we can use this template as the starting point. So we are going to begin by saving this as a template. So we are going to choose File, Save As, and we're going to browse. We want it to save in there. We will change this to a template. Actually, I think we're going to move where we put this. We're going to put this under a templates folder. Documents, Custom Office Templates. We're going to say that this Save As type is Excel template, and this is the name we're going to give it. Now I've already created this earlier, so we're going to be overwriting the one that's there. But if it wasn't there, you would simply give it the name. And the key is this Save As type must be Excel template. Notice there are other ones that have the word template in there, such as an older version of Excel template or a macro enabled template. So you want to be careful that you select the correct one and then choose Save. So now we want to make some changes, and one of the things I'm going to change is that since these top rows are the same, I'm going to come over here to row quarter 1, group with quarter 4, and I'm going to set this cell A2 equal to a formula that's going to reference the summary worksheet, cell A2. Now if you notice, quarter 1 has Jackson in there, so does quarter 2, 3, and 4, but they're all based off of the information in the summary. This will allow me to set up a new center and only have to type the name once on the first one. So we're going to start setting up our template so that it's ready for us to enter new data. Now I don't want these numbers because these are the numbers for 2017 and the Jackson Center. So what I want to do is I want to click on quarter one, and I want to try to identify the pieces of information that are not going to stay the same in the next year or the next center. And if I click on a cell such as B6 and I see a dollar amount that's entered there, I know that's going to change. However, if I click on E6, that's a formula. That formula should still work in a new year or in a new center. So formulas I want to leave alone. Now, before you begin any of this process, you should have tested your worksheet. You should know it works. You should know the formulas are correct and that all the formatting is set up the way you want it to be. Okay, so now we have identified that these cells, B6 through D11, those are all numbers, and they're going to change. And it's the same way on the quarters 2, 3, and 4 worksheets. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a group. We're going to click on quarter 1, and then hold the shift key down and click on quarter 4. We want to make sure all 4 worksheets are selected, and it says group. Next, we're going to select the range of cells that we want to clear. So we want to clear B6 through D11. At that point, we could come up here and to clear and say clear contents, or we could do a right click and choose clear contents from the menu. Now, another thing that I like to do with a lot of my clients is color coding of our worksheets. So if there's a lot of formulas, the formula cells might be left white, and the area where they need to enter information, I would put a fill color on. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to color this so that it's this dark blue text to lighter 80%. Now I can tell my client, enter your data in the blue area, but leave the white area alone. That's the formulas, and we don't want to mess those up. So that takes care of those 4 quarterly worksheets. Now let's take a look at the summary one. For the summary, there's a few pieces of information they have to enter. Notice all of the formulas show a dash. That is because of number formatting. When you use accounting formatting, it is displayed as a dash when it is a 0. So that simply means that because there was no data on these other cells, all the formulas total to 0. So now we're going to come up here to the name of the center, and we are going to put that in square brackets, square brackets, to let them know, don't enter this exact phrase, but enter the center name. And because this is a cell that we need to enter information in, if this were my worksheet, I could be consistent throughout all of the worksheets in the workbook, and everything blue would be an area they were to enter. So I would make that blue. They also need to enter the fiscal year. So again, we're going to put a square bracket, and we're going to type enter fiscal year dash, And then we're going to have 4 Ys, letting them know we want a 4-digit year typed into that cell. And again, since this is a cell that we have to input in, I would make it blue. Now, if you notice, some of these worksheets may not be large enough in A. So what we're going to do is we're going to group the summary all the way through quarter 4, and we're going to enlarge the width of A out to 25. That enlarged the width of column A in all 5 of our workbooks, so they would be consistent. Next, we're going to go over to our documentation. I'm going to enlarge B, column B. I'd like to make it larger so that the entire text fits in it. They don't do that in your text. However, if this was something I was creating, I definitely would do that. I would make these 2 cells blue, and it might say in square brackets, enter your name, and then again in square brackets, enter the date, today's date maybe. And then here you would want it to read, to compile rental income, and we're going to say 4, and then you would want them to put in the center name. So you would put that in square brackets. That way they would know to replace that information in the square brackets. And again, I would make this a blue fill to be consistent. We could shrink that size down. You can see now every cell that they're supposed to enter information in is colored blue. So I am going to now save these changes and close our template. Now, if you look here under Documents, you'll find Custom Office Templates, and you can open the template from there into Excel. Or if someone doesn't know or doesn't remember where they were saved, you can go to Open Other Workbooks and say New. Instead of using featured templates, you can use personal templates. Here you can select the template you created. So it will put all your personal templates on that new tab under Personal Templates. Notice it created it with a 1, just like when we downloaded one from the internet. And now let's say we were going to enter new information. So I would come in here and I would enter my name. And then I would enter today's date. And I would say I am compiling rental information income for, and this is Jackson. Then I would go over to my Summary tab, and under the center name, I would type in Jackson. And here, I would change this to read fiscal year 2018. Now, if you look at quarters 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 4, you can see that Jackson and the fiscal year have updated for me automatically. At this point, I'm ready to begin entering data. So we're going to take and enter 100 in B6. Now, if I copy this 100 down, again, I need to make sure I fill without formatting. You can see that it calculated totals for me. If I go to the summary, you can see that the totals are still working there. So now I can save this book. So I'm going to do File, Save As, and I want this to be in my folder that had the original files we were working with for Module 6. We are going to call this Jackson 2018. And then as you were able to, you would just keep entering numbers. On each of the quarterly sheets, it would keep updating the summary as well as all of the other totals. If you wanted to make sure that it was working, we certainly could take this 100 and copy it into the other 2 quarters. And then you can see that quarter 1 worked. We could then also take that same information, and copy it, pasting it into each of the other quarters. And when we went back to summary, you would see the 1800 in each of the quarters. So I'm going to save this and we're going to close. Templates can be really helpful if you have the same starting point over and over, like monthly or yearly. And if that's the case, it can keep you from having to redo all the formulas or the data entry. It can also help you from having to remember what to erase and what not to erase. So templates can be a very useful tool, whether they are custom or whether they are the ones that you download from Microsoft. And that concludes